When Nintendo opted to launch a multiplayer-focused game on the Wii U, no one could have guessed that Splatoon would be a success. After 3 games that put a lot of emphasis on multiplayer, along with both a single-player and roguelite expansion, predicting what was next for the series was unlikely for anyone. Splatoon Raiders was not something I would have predicted, so when Nintendo invited me to get some hands-on time with the game, I had to say yes. Was there treasure at the end of my time with the game, or was this a hunt that led nowhere? At its core, Splatoon Raiders is a very expanded version of the Salmon Run game mode from Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3. The major upgrade to it here is that you can do everything solo and don't need to wait for a random day when Nintendo opt to let you play. So what is going on then? Well, you are a pilot who is hired by Deep Cut, that is Shiver, Fry and Big Man, to fly them to an island chain that has risen up out of the ocean due to some tectonic movement. On approach to the island, a giant beam of light bursts out of the clouds, kicking up a storm and bringing down the helicopter. Life goes on though, and after a month has passed, Deep Cut and your character have built a life for themselves, thanks in part to your character's ability to build just about anything. As the group's official mechanic, you are tasked with finding materials that you can then turn into gear to help everyone survive. But upon discovery of an abandoned and rusted over bot, the mission pivots back to the original purpose, finding treasure. That is the basic setup and is the reason why you are venturing out to the islands. The way that the game works is that as you explore, you will discover new treasures, some of which will point you to new destinations. The locations themselves can be challenging for a number of reasons, but clearing those challenges means that you get more rewards and can upgrade yourself and then push on deeper into the island chain. Missions are usually about getting a set number of something, though there are occasionally boss fights that you can take on. For anyone who has played Salmon Run in the previous Splatoon titles, you're going to have a great sense of what is needed. One of the earliest missions had me attempting to just collect a set number of power eggs, which is done by defeating the Salmonids. Another had me attempt to get to the treasure that was hiding in the area. Now, you are not required to bring a shovel with you when you go looking for treasure. You're not a pirate after all. No, instead you are joined by the bot, which can be piloted by any member of Deep Cut. Yes, you can get Big Man to shove himself inside. The bot buddy can detect where treasure is, along with helping to fight the Salmonids, and if you are needing a boost, they can launch you up into the air. The bot buddy is powered by power eggs, and once it has enough power, you can trigger its big attack, which will change depending on whomever is piloting it. In the earlier missions I got to play, that was not something I cared about, but when fighting against one of the bosses, it came in very handy. Those who are successful in a run will get to take home the treasure, but even if you fail one, and I did fail, you still get to keep the XP earned and the other items you picked up. Once you are back at base, you can use the materials that you found to upgrade your gear, and there is a lot you can do here. Anyone coming from Splatoon 3 will understand the idea of having a main weapon and the sub-weapon with it. That is not the case here. Your sub-weapon does not exist and is now a gadget, which is independent of the main weapon. That means if you want to wield the dualies, you can do so without having to use ink mine, for example. The gadgets themselves are set pieces, but you can adjust how it behaves by upgrading it. This can be as simple as increasing the damage range or how long it lasts for, but if you're not a fan of the gadgets that you have, Shiver can whip you up a new one as long as you have a blueprint and the materials. This alone would give you lots of replay value, but we've not even mentioned the tank that you carry on your back. In previous Splatoon titles, you wear your tank and that's it. You say thanks for being there and move on, not so here. In Raiders, there are 3 tank varieties: speed, power and tactical, with each offering a benefit to their use. For my time with the game, I opted for the power tank, which is perfect for someone who wants to get in and fight. Speed is meant to be for those who love dashing around, and tactical is for those who want to play smarter, not harder. The tanks also have a special ability that you can break out if you need to, with each tank having their own to use. What all of this boils down to is that each player could have a vastly different experience in the game depending on what their setup is. For those who are not diehard Splatoon fans, you can also pick a lower base difficulty setting, and for those who want a challenge, you can make it go higher with the survivalist option. I mentioned before about fighting against the Salmonids, and like from the Salmon Run game mode, there are levels here. Your basic type are called Lesser Salmonid, and while they might be lesser in size, they are numerous in number. The more dangerous are the Boss Salmonid, which are larger and able to do more damage. These will be very familiar to Salmon Run veterans. New to the game are Seasoned Salmonids, which are salted versions of the boss ones. Think of them as much harder versions of the boss type. They hit harder and take more hits from you. There was one stage, Alfredo Berry Ruins, where I was fighting one of those seasoned Salmonid and found myself getting destroyed by them. They are that tough. So upon reviving at the base, I swapped out my weapon and went back for another go and was almost immediately destroyed. So back at the base again, I spent a bit of time checking all the options available to me, making sure my gadgets were tweaked the way I wanted and picking a better weapon. With all that done, I went back in for another go and was victorious. This of course led to... There are a lot of callbacks to Salmon Run, and for good reason, as this is basically single-player Salmon Run, but there is still the option to play with folks. We jumped into a co-op game and pushed through 2 stages. The first we finished with ease, as it was just about getting the treasure. The second stage, though, was a challenge. It was here that we discovered that your group has a pool of shared lives, 6 in total, and if you wipe out all those lives, it is game over. The stage was funnily enough the Alfredo Berry Ruins, and the first level for that stage was fine. The second was utter chaos, but we got through. The third stage spawned at the seasoned Salmonid, and with him and waves of other Salmonids, it was just too much and we got taken out. I will fully admit that my death was the one that did us in, because I was just swamped by those lesser Salmonids and just could not get free. Splatoon Raiders is doing what I like about Splatoon, giving me the chance to enjoy it solo. Yes, the game has the co-op run option for those who want to do that, but for me, I enjoy being able to play games at my own pace. With the sheer number of gadget and weapon combinations, and that is before you upgrade them, there is a lot of replayability here, and I can't even talk about one part of the game. As a fair weather Splatoon player, I can say this is one raid I'm willing to sign up for today. Hands On was made possible with the support of Nintendo. Our thanks to them for allowing us this opportunity.